Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and here's the headline from crypto media outlet You Today. Billionaire Mark Cuban joins XRP army in criticizing SEC. And so in this case, yet another person, in this case a rather notable person, recognizing that the SEC is a bunch of baby back biatches, and that's factually accurate. And I want to share with you also in this video some legal updates and opinions from 4 different attorneys, including James Filan, Jeremy Hogan, Arturo Portilla, and John Deaton. All of them are attorneys and members of the XRP community, having nothing specifically to do with Ripple or the SEC, but they've dropped some information and opinions I look forward to sharing with you. But I do want to be clear at the outset of this video, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say, all right. I'm just a simple little Moon Lambo doing Moon Lambo things, like making YouTubes for you, all up on the internet. It's a good time, but it is indeed just a hobby. All right, so into this piece. Billionaire Mark Cuban has joined a choir of critics of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission in his recent tweet. Yeah, not hard to find critics, let me be clear. Do you guys remember Elon Musk's tweet, or not tweet, but it's been all over social media lately anyway. He's just like, you could tell he's like fired up when the SEC comes up in this video clip. He's like, I do not respect the SEC. That's a quote from him. And he's like squirming, and you can see he's like all fired up. Well, nobody likes the SEC. I'm telling you, if we were picking teams like at recess, picking teams for kickball, the SEC would be picked last. For sure, and it would be begrudgingly. Nobody wants to be stuck with the SEC on their kickball team. I'm just saying. The Shark Tank host has slammed former SEC attorney John Reed Stark for having absolutely no understanding of crypto. That's a quote, by the way. Now, Cuban says that crypto will continue to positively impact businesses more than the regulator. And earlier today, Stark said that neither Bitcoin nor any other crypto had any utility. Now you read that, and I know if you're like me, and you've done a little baby boo bit of research on XRP, you might be chuckling to yourself because you can be like, "What a jokester! He has no idea what he's talking about." The thing that interested me most about XRP was when I found out in 2017 that there was real utility to be had with it, and I recognized that there were businesses that could not exist if not for XRP being positioned as a bridge currency. And it was key also that it was decentralized and it has an open market price and technologically sufficient, of course. All those things functionally matter here. So you see something like this from somebody that clearly doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. And then you're like, how are they in charge of anything in life? Like, couldn't you just say, like, I don't know how you get to a point if you haven't done sufficient research to make a claim like this. Because if you do like a half hour of research, you can find out there is utility in crypto. It doesn't take that much time. So how do you get into an influential position in life where you can just spout off nonsense like this? But at least there's some pushback here. But here's the quote. The volatility is unbelievable, and also what a lot of people miss is that there is no utility in Bitcoin or any other crypto. The only reason people own it is hoping it will go up because someone else will buy it. Audible sigh and facepalm. Jeez. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is why we cannot have nice things. This is why we cannot have nice things. The speed at which Cuban has turned from a skeptic into a crypto advocate is astonishing. In December, for instance, he himself claimed that bananas had more utility than Bitcoin because they have potassium. And I remember covering that, and that was kind of comical. But now he's outlined a myriad of use cases for crypto. Check this quote out. Weather insurance, money transfer, provenance for digital files, marketplace efficiency for digital content, personal banking, prediction markets, non-fractionalized banking, structured financial products, fractionalization of assets, gaming rewards, soon ticketing. There you go. And he didn't even happen to mention bridge currency, which is a key one, obviously, for XRP. You can do things with cryptocurrencies that you cannot do if they don't exist. That's a fact. That represents value to humans, and if something is valuable to humans, they're not going to let it go by the wayside. So if anybody says anything to the contrary, they out their goddamn minds. They don't know what the hell they're talking about, frankly. Now, on to the next part here. there was a tweet from XRP community member and attorney James Filan, who shared a new document here. SEC versus Ripple news here. Ripple files notice of intent to submit a letter no later than June 9th, 2021 in opposition to the SEC's request to extend the discovery deadline, see below. And you may recall within the last few days or so, I put out a video in which I was bitching up a storm. It was a Moon Lambo bitch storm about how the SEC, they had 2.5 years to prepare for this lawsuit. That was the number that was bandied about anyway. And then they've had the last half year, all this time, and they still didn't have their act together. It's like and that's why I shared opinions from a number of attorneys from the XRP community, and the general gist was, wow, looks like they were not prepared when they filed the suit against Ripple. And so it appears that they wanted to rush it out. And obviously with the administration incoming, that change here in the United States, it was either they do it then or they don't do it. So they rushed out a lawsuit that they weren't even prepared for, and that's abundantly clear. And now they're looking for an extension that they do not deserve, frankly. And so the Ripple's going to he's going to file a letter. It's so funny the way law stuff works, because I don't have a legal background of any kind, so I wasn't really familiar with this. But they filed a letter to notify the court that they're going to file a letter about what they just filed about, which is it's always kind of funny to me. But I'm like, all right, cool. Well, why not a letter to notice you're going to file a letter to notice that you're going to file another letter? Like, what? Just add another layer. Why not? Can we get 3 layers at least? Come on, there's only 2 here. Anyway, Jeremy Hogan retweeted that from James Filan and wrote the following. The general rule on extensions to discovery is that you have to show prejudice if the extension is not granted, and the SEC didn't do a good job with that in its motion. Judge, we haven't been able to find what we need yet is not a good prejudice argument. We shall see. Yep, so we'll see how this all shakes out here. And then there was this. Now, you guys may recall, we've been talking about this a fair bit, the one motion that that Ripple actually lost, and I'm not convinced it was necessarily particularly consequential, based on what I've seen from attorneys that have been openly talking about it, was the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, in which the SEC was requesting documents from businesses in foreign countries. And because of the relationship that the United States government has set up with other governments around the world, those businesses are effectively required to oblige with what their local government is requiring. And so the government could shut it down, but the business doesn't really have a say. And if their government doesn't shut it down, they have to send the information over. And that's just how it's set up. And so the SEC, taking advantage of their position as a part of the federal government and requesting just that. But check this out. From XRP community member Arturo Portilla, who is an attorney, he wrote the following, and this was an interesting take that I hadn't seen articulated yet, so I wanted to share it with you. Check this out. The SEC leveraged its MOUs, that's Memorandum of Understandings, with foreign authorities to intimidate Ripple and ask for info about defendants' deals with business partners. So I'll pause there. It seems very clear to me, and I remember Jeremy Hogan had effectively articulated the same thing, which is this really does just seem like an intimidation tactic, and it's harming Ripple's business relationships, and it's also outside of the rules of the court, which is why we were kind of surprised ultimately that they were allowed to continue doing this, but the judge articulated a reason, and okay, fine. Arturo continues, though. The SEC could have done the same to obtain info from overseas exchanges, but they didn't. The SEC is cherry-picking the facts and the law. Now, that was the part that really caught my attention. And so what's he talking about there? Well, these MOU requests to foreign exchanges, had the SEC made MOU requests to foreign exchanges, would actually harm the SEC's case, because it would indicate that they don't have jurisdiction over these transactions that have occurred with Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse and the SEC. Because recalling off the top of my head specifically, I have read that Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO, and Chris Larson, Ripple co-founder, their transactions were all done outside of the United States, which means the SEC does not have jurisdiction over them at all. And so as far as Ripple's transactions, I don't know if there are exceptions to that. I mean, certainly in terms of what's happening with on-demand liquidity, yes. But outside of that, I'm actually functionally not sure. And so it looks to me like, based on what Arturo said here, it seems pretty clear, really, that had the SEC actually filed MOUs to exchanges and not just Ripple's key business partners, it would have harmed their case, but they don't want that information. And so they are cherry-picking based on what they would like to have discoverable. But they know if they filed an MOU, it would just slaughter their case. So how about that for the asshats over at the SEC continuing to be completely disingenuous? Isn't that just that good time? It's a party every day, isn't it? And then Arturo wrote, how can government agency sustain, in good faith, that it has a legitimate claim over alleged liabilities that were produced as a consequence of acts that were clearly conducted outside of its jurisdiction? Bravo, exactly. And then he went on and tagged attorney John Deaton, another XRP community member and attorney, and he's the one that is seeking to intervene legally in the SEC versus Ripple court case. Really look forward to seeing how that pans out. Hopefully to the positive, but we'll see. Anyway, John Deaton wrote the following. This is why, months ago, I said what defines a good prosecutor isn't whether he or she is smart and talented. What defines a good prosecutor is whether or not he or she can overcome the temptation to win the case no matter what. Well stated. In fact, I'm going to heart all these comments. I like that. So there we go. SEC being a little bunch of sneaky biatches, but that's par for the course, is it not? I'll wrap up here, though. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.